develop dengan lebih baik. Kita kolaborasi dengan tim produk, tim UI UX, tim bisnis dan marketing. Tapi kita juga harus berkolaborasi dengan tim operasional internal kita agar ketika kita launching produknya kita, operationally juga sangat superior. Tahap selanjutnya, nah disinilah coding mulai kita lakukan. Tapi sekali lagi sebelum itu kita harus melakukan banyak sekali desain. Kita desain arsitektur yang baik, yang scalable, yang reliable. Kita juga jangan lupa untuk memperhatikan dari sisi keamanan, baik itu keamanan sistem maupun keamanan data. Mulailah kita coding, kita realisasikan semua rencana-rencana tersebut. Jangan lupa setelah kita coding, kita harus testing dengan baik. Ada smoke test, regression test, function test, baik itu secara automation maupun secara manual dari sisi users. Jangan lupa ya, kita harus mendokumentasikan ini semua sehingga semuanya tercatat dengan rapi. Kita bisa menjadikan dokumentasi ini untuk bahan improvement ke depannya. Nah, fase terakhir, fase improvement. Apa itu? Kita harus memiliki rasa lapar. Kita tidak puas dengan apa yang sudah kita lakukan, kita terus introspeksi, apalagi yang kita bisa lakukan dengan lebih baik, versi selanjutnya, versi yang lebih baik, dan tentu saja jika ada hal-hal yang tidak berjalan dengan baik, kita harus secepat mungkin untuk menyelesaikannya. Nah, kita bisa lihat end-to-end journey ini teman-teman belajar banyak. Market research, collaboration, problem solving, dan yang di tengah ini ketika kita coding, engineering culture yang superior juga sangat penting. Dan juga fase terakhir kita belajar bagaimana kita introspeksi dan mengembangkan diri terus. Saya yakin dalam event Hour of Code kali ini, teman-teman programming enthusiast di mana hampir semuanya adalah kaum perempuan pasti belajar banyak dan mendapatkan pengalaman yang sangat berharga. Akhir kata, enjoy the show!
Selamat datang di Hour of Code, saya Syapira, Product Manager Line Indonesia. Saat ini, coding menjadi salah satu aktivitas di dunia teknologi yang menarik banyak pihak dari segala usia. Melalui coding, kita bisa menemukan solusi untuk masalah-masalah yang kita temukan setiap hari. Line Indonesia sebagai platform pertukaran pesan yang menjadi tempat yang aman dan nyaman bagi pengguna, terutama Gen Z, demi memberikan wadah yang positif bagi individu-individu yang ingin mengembangkan bakat dan minat masing-masing serta berkontribusi terhadap masyarakat. Selamat datang di Hour of Code, saya Syapira.
Welcome everyone to the Hour of Code. This is the biggest learning event in history and you are a part of it. How cool is that? My name is Yuma Soerianto and I am an app developer. I've created 10 apps on the Apple App Store to this day. I also teach coding online on my YouTube channel, Anyone Can Code. Coding has opened a lot of opportunities for me and I am sure you will feel the same way too. I started coding when I was 6, but back then I didn't know about Hour of Code, and I had to learn coding by myself online. It was very fun, but it was a little tough as well. On the other hand, you are in the good hands of the mentors today, and you will find coding easy and fun to learn. I would like to say, enjoy the Hour of Code, have fun, and remember that this is only the beginning of your fun journey with coding. So be sure to keep learning after the event. Thank you, and happy coding.
Hello, hello everyone. Selamat pagi ya, selamat pagi semuanya. Selamat datang di Hour of Code Advanced Class sama Generation Girl. Nama aku Nadine, aku salah satu koordinator di Generation Girl, and I'm so excited to be welcome you all to this very exciting event today. Next slide, please. Jadi kalau misalnya kalian nggak tahu, Generation Girl adalah yayasan yang didirikan di Indonesia. And our vision and mission here is to empower more young girls to become future female leaders through technology, engineering, math, and science. Jadi kita lumayan excited banget untuk, walaupun nggak semuanya yang di sini cewek-cewek, tapi we're so excited to be welcoming you to our little organization today. Next slide, please. Kita juga mau say thank you ke beberapa sponsor kita. This event and actually all of our events would not be possible at all without all of our amazing partners that we are so lucky to work with. Jadi kita mau bilang terima kasih ke semua partners kita yang udah join kita buat celebrating Hour of Code tahun ini. Next, please. So Hour of Code, kalau misalnya teman-teman di sini belum tahu, adalah 1 jam coding session di mana kita mau bikin sesuatu. Untuk tahun ini dan untuk advanced class ini, we're gonna think like a machine. So that's going to be the theme for this class today. This Hour of Code event buat teman-teman sebenarnya bukan cuman buat kita di Indonesia di Generation Girl aja. Jadi ini Hour of Code sebenarnya global event where everyone in the world, millions and millions of people are learning to code for this 1 hour. So we're so excited to have you join this global event with people like the ex-president Barack Obama, Malala, Ashton Kutcher, and Mark Zuckerberg. Next, please. Jadi sebelum kita mulai, aku cuma mau kasih sedikit guidelines-nya aja. Yang pertama, itu kalau bisa teman-teman di sini tolong buka webcam-nya ya, supaya kita tahu ekspresi mukanya kalian kalau misalnya lagi belajar. So the reason why we like for you guys to have your webcams on is so that we know, you're learning with us, you're participating, and make sure you also use the raising hand and the chat features on Zoom kalau misalnya ada pertanyaan. Kalau misalnya kalian bisa, mungkin do you guys mind saying something in the chat just so we know you can use it? Mungkin just say hi in the chat, maybe say your name, where you're from, just to make sure that we know that you can use the chat function. Oh, hi. Crystal, our mentor, who I am about to give this out to, is actually in San Francisco right now.
Where is everyone else right
from? Now? Oh my goodness, you took my question. Okay. Yeah, sambil aku mulai, mungkin you guys can say hi in the chat, say hi to Crystal. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions, concerns, comments, please feel free to put it inside the chat box, or feel free to raise your hand. And if we do have some time, you can unmute and ask your question yourself. Kalau misalnya kalian punya pertanyaan, tolong ditaruh dalam format ini, ask, terus nama kalian dan pertanyaannya. Jadi example-nya ask, maybe if Ashton Kutcher was here, maybe he is going to be asking a question, and then you ask your question over there. Okay? All right, so that's it from me. I hope you guys have so much fun. I will be back after the class to make sure you guys are okay. But after this, I'm just going to send it off to Crystal. Again, have so much fun. Good luck, and see you soon.
As if you need to make sure I'll take good care of them. I'll take really good care of them. Don't worry. No one will be harmed in the act of this educational experience. Hey, everybody. Maybe you did one of our classes in the past, maybe not, but welcome to Hour of Code. Please take a second to pat yourself on the back because you are doing something amazing for yourself right now. You are bringing yourself an hour of education on a weekend. and you're going to have fun. So let's do this thing. We are actually going to be working on a project today called the AI-powered image recognition service. It looks a little bit like this. One of our TAs will drop the link into our chat, Zoom chat, so that you can see what this is and what you're going to be building for today. So myself, I built is this a Gojek driver or not, image recognition service. So let's see. I'm going to upload this amazing photo of this hot dog that I have. It is truly a marvel. I'm in America right now, so I have to do it this way. So let's see if this is a Gojek driver. So we'll upload it, and there we go. It is definitely not a Gojek driver because it's only 0.02% recognized as a Gojek driver. So how did we do this, and how are we going to build our own? Because maybe you don't want to do image recognition on Gojek drivers or not. You're not working at Gojek. That doesn't make sense for you. But let's see what you can build instead. So today we're actually going to be looking at an idea for you. Maybe you want to do something like, are they wearing masks or not? Because we're in COVID era and you want everyone to be safe. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to this website called Teachable Machine, and we're going to learn how Tensorflow works. So Teachable Machine has actually built a class model that you can train on the web. And this basically gives you an introduction to all of the simple ways that TensorFlow works. TensorFlow is essentially a Google developed service that looks at lots of math. It takes an image and it basically tries to change it into something that a computer can recognize. So if you have a lot of pictures of people with masks on, it can start to recognize that as a computer and ensures that it translates it into one class or the other. So if you do not have a REPL account, please do sign up because you are going to be creating a REPL of your own. So sign up for a REPL account and start to think about what 2 things you want to be able to classify. It's usually better to classify an object that you know well. Maybe it's a water bottle, because hopefully you have lots of water bottles that you can compare it to. Maybe it's people with masks on. Maybe it's, is it me, Crystal, or not type of image classifier. So go on ahead and go to the Teachable Machine URL that we dropped in the link. But if you don't have a bunch of pictures ready right now, we actually created a Google Drive folder for you called Image Scraper that has a bunch of pictures of people with masks on and a bunch of people without masks on. So we'll use that for the example if you don't have a bunch of pictures to upload. And I'll show you how that works here. So I'm going to download my Image Scraper folder that we just dropped in our Zoom chat. I'm going to pick these 2 because I'm not doing the Gojek driver right now. And I'm just going to download these 2 files. So the way that we'll think about TensorFlow is these are all pre-computed libraries that make it easy, save, for us to apply a existing model that's been built, that's been generalized, and can take new inputs for us to reuse and leverage for our own use cases. So even if it wasn't specifically built for wearing masks or not wearing masks, we can actually use it to test out our own model because it accepts inputs and it can generate an output. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and go to our image model. And if you have downloaded or taken a bunch of pictures, maybe take a selfie of your own right now so that you can add it to your model. So I'm just going to drop in my first class of photos. Of course, I need to unzip my Drive file first, and then we'll have access to it here. So my first class is going to be all the people who do not have a mask on. You'll see some awesome selfies of myself, some amazing selfies of Jason, one of our TAs. We've got lots of great people. You should add your own selfie because you're building your own model. You want it to be something that you like and something that can recognize your own flavor in the model itself. And we'll call this people without masks. And then we'll call this one people with masks. So let's try to upload these. I'll pick the folder with, this is with masks. So let's look at all these people with masks. There's some people with masks on. They look really great and safe and healthy. We can even take our own picture with a webcam here as well. So I'll give it a minute, but I want everyone to press done or type done in the chat when they have gotten all of their pictures ready. We'll wait just a few minutes in case you're trying to put some photos together. And I'll explain a little bit more about how this model works. So this model actually allows you to tune some different options here. I wouldn't change too much right now because the defaults are often the easiest thing to start with. But you can always come back to retrain your model and it will always let you develop a new one. So if you're done, go ahead and type in the chat that you are done, and then we'll all get started on the fun part of coding. In the meantime, if you are already done, we're going to ask you to go ahead and copy the skeleton of code that you are going to be working on. So you'll go to the replit, and then you'll see this. And it's going to ask you, do you want to fork this? You might have to sign up for an account first. Go ahead and do that. I promise they don't really spam you too much. But while you're waiting for everyone to get ready with their pictures, go ahead and fork the REPL that we sent a link to. If you are almost done with your pictures, go ahead and press train model. And if you see that the test case doesn't really work, maybe you need more photos. So with models like these, more is almost always better. It's good to get the good and the bad sides of a picture. If you're using a water bottle to train, for example, I have my handy dandy water bottle here. If I take too many pictures of just this one water bottle, it'll get really good at just identifying that one green water bottle. So you probably want to go into the kitchen, grab some regular water bottles, a white one, a blue one, so that it doesn't do what we call kind of over training on a very specific item set. You want it to be a little bit good at the general water bottle identification or people with or without masks identification. So you'll then go ahead and press train model. It might turn off my camera if I do this. And remember, do not switch tabs. Leave the screen open. And then it'll see, do I have a mask on? Hopefully not. There we go. So it thinks I don't have a mask on for the most part. Let me turn my video back on. There we go. So you'll want to make sure that you test whether or not your model is working. Unfortunately, at the end of this, I thought I did have a mask on. It may be because too many of my photos are in our test drives, but make sure you try to do like 30 different photos. Press export when you're ready. And we must make sure you download this version. So everyone with me, please type done in the Zoom chat if you have downloaded your TensorFlow Lite model. Might take a few minutes. We're just waiting. Currently training the model. Yeah, it takes time. You got to think like a machine, right? The model is taking in these images. It has to interpret it in terms of numbers or converting colors, RGB colors, into different types of rates. I would leave all of the learning rates at the default of whatever it was when you looked at it. But after class, you can always go back and change it. And I always try to change it to the different extremes and see, does my model get better or does it get worse? Okay, so your model is probably downloading. We'll wait a little bit and see what we have to work on next. In the meantime, you can go in and fork your REPL. We'll share the link with you guys again on the chat, and then we can get started. So I'm going to fork this. We're initializing, and it's connected. And look at all this code. We're actually going to be adding a lot more here. So let's check back on our model. Don't worry, it'll be done by the time we're ready, I'm sure. Type done if you are in your copy skeleton of code. Done. Okay, we've got a bunch of people. Most of us are almost there. Okay, you're gonna fork this and this is gonna make it your own. You're actually gonna be able to share this link with anyone when the product is live. Okay, so first things first, we're actually gonna be using something called Flask to build our web application today. Flask is just a library in Python. It contains a bunch of pre-built tools again that you just pick and choose from. And so to use Flask and its tools, we'll have to import it. So we're gonna be typing in some code here. So I'm gonna wait. Is anyone not yet ready to type in their code? They don't yet have a Replit account, or they don't yet even know where to get to this screen. Please type help in the Zoom chat if you need help, and someone will help you. So if you're not here and not ready to type your code, please type help in the Zoom chat. Oh no, something went wrong. How come? Interesting. Let's see if we have some files that aren't accepted. I'll try exporting again. And if it doesn't work, we may have to pick our pictures one at a time. After exporting your model, does it also say that something went wrong? Was anyone else able to download their file? If not, maybe Jason, one of our TAs, can help debug this and try to get the TensorFlow Lite model for us downloaded. But in the meantime, don't worry. Okay, some people were able to download it. So Jason is on it, and maybe you can upload it to the Google Drive, Jason, so that other people can download it. Don't worry, everyone. There's always stuff that goes wrong when you're coding. It's okay. You don't need the model to be done yet to write the code. So let's get started on the code. Are we all ready? Let's go. So you'll see this first to do, and it says you need to import Flask, libraries, or dependencies. There's this whole other setup of files here. You see there's a main.py. We have something called static. Who knows what that is? Templates, that's our HTML. That sounds super easy. So what we're going to do is we're going to stay in the main.py, and we're going to import our Flask libraries. So first things first, the syntax for this is very similar to this. These are all importing different libraries. So we've typed in a bunch of this for you, but go ahead and type this in with me. I'm going to type in from Flask, which is the library name. We're going to import Flask. And yes, case sensitive, so be careful with your capitalization. And we also need a couple of other things. So luckily this accepts commas. I'm just going to type in things like, I need flash, I need request, redirect, I need URL for, and render template. These are all different parts of the Flask library that works. And no, I did not memorize this. I just wrote this down somewhere else. Oftentimes you have to kind of go and Google what is the library name and how to find it. So don't worry, you're not expected to memorize all these things. If you're working in code, Google is your best friend. Okay, so if you got finished typing everything, go ahead and type done in the Zoom chat. And if you do need help downloading a TF-Lite file, there's a TF-Lite file in here of wearing a mask that you can download instead. And it's basically the same thing. So you can use that as well. All right. So it sounds like most of us are done. Let's get back to the code. So now that we've done that, what we're going to do next is go to our to-do number 2. So skip number 10. We don't need that right now. I'm going to move this over here. So we're at to-do 2 at line 31, hopefully. And remember, not all the lines will be the same as mine. It depends on if you made extra enter rows. But here we need to use a method called post. So go ahead and type post here. And there are lots of different types of calls for APIs. You can do a post, you can do a put, I think. There are many other versions, but you'll find that there's other versions of APIs that you can use, like GraphQL, that has different types of methods within it. So this helps us set up the app routing, which is essentially just something used to modify these different functions. The next thing that we're going to do is start looking at this upload file function. So you'll know this is a function because it's defined, it has an upload file, and then it accepts something in between these parentheses. What do you think will happen in this function? Right now, if we need to upload a file to our model, remember I uploaded a picture to our main service here. As a good engineer, we're going to be doing something called error handling. So what happens if no one actually uploaded a picture and they pressed upload photo? Well, we should check for that. And what if they don't upload the right thing? What if it's corrupted? And what if it's not even actually a picture? So we're going to have to think through the different ways that we would want to allow a file. So we have allowed files and file names. And so perhaps what we would need to do here is start adding what we believe would be the right error handling to check for a file and an allowed file type. So what we'll do here is we'll type out file name. We'll make a new variable, and we're going to use something called secure file name, which is, again, just another function or library that we know exists in this file name. And the file path itself is essentially like where in your machine is it being uploaded from. So we'll define that, a file path, and make this os.path.join. What should we call this? So we do have a constant here called upload folder. Constants are kind of like variables, but you can't change them. So because we can't change it, let's just use that. We're going to go back to our os.path.join. And what we'll do is we'll add upload folder, that constant that we just saw, and file name. All right. Then we actually have to save our file. So we'll do file.save, file path. So file.save is essentially saying, save this thing from that file path that you just gave me, where that folder just was, and we'll be good to go. The next thing that we'll look at is for our, let's see, what do we need here? I believe I have next my app route. I'll ignore all that fancy stuff. Let's actually move straight to processing the file. So remember, we need to process the file. It's not enough just to be able to upload it. I also need to process it. So if you're following along still, I'll make sure that you can still see our to-do number 3, but we're now working on to-do 5. So on to-do 5, what we're essentially doing is we're running an inference. So this will look like interpreter equals tflight.interpreter. And remember, these are just the TensorFlow libraries. You won't have to memorize the names of these. You'll often have to Google it. But what we're doing is we have to define an interpreter so that it can use our model that we just built. And so the way to do that is to tell it where to find the model, which is our model path. And we're going to call it whatever we just downloaded. So remember, you downloaded a TF-Lite model. You're actually just going to drop it here. You're going to drop it into this folder. And look, it shows up right there. You're going to have to name it exactly the same thing that it is saved as here. So maybe your model is called model_unquant.tf-lite, but mine, because I saved 2 in one place, I'm going to save it as model unquant. Believe that's a space. Might not be. We'll see. 1.tf-lite. It might not be a space. We'll see. If we need to debug this later, please remind me that I put a space. I didn't put a space here. Okay. So now that we're going to be loading the model, remember we just downloaded it from the Google Drive that Jason just shared. He might share it again if you still need it. Who is lost? Please type in the Zoom chat, help if you are lost and you no longer know where we are. And someone will go ahead and reach out to you. In the meantime, we're going to start initializing the tensor. This is a very fancy way of saying, let's start all of the math. Let's let the service start building out the tensor values. So I need to start interpreter.allocate tensors, because they're not just laying around. We actually have to get them started. We're going to then start building our inputs and outputs. Remember, the service inputs the stuff that you give it, and then it puts it through its algorithm, and then it gives you some outputs. So we'll have our input details defined. This is our new variable. We're going to call this interpreter.getInputDetails, which is a way of saying, like, how do I understand what this model has read before and what it knows. You'll then create the output details, which is interpreter.getOutputDetails. And look, you've just used the TensorFlow library. The next part of this is to feed our input, our image that we're going to upload. Remember, we uploaded an image here, and we need this service to be able to convert the image into something that the model can understand. And for almost all computer services, that means it's more of a math service. It's a bunch of arrays and numbers from a picture that it converted. And what that looks like is we'll have to tell it an input shape. And to do that, we'll call it input details. And this is a bracket, not a parentheses. 0, if you're following along, means give me the first thing, starting from there. And then we're going to put another bracket and ask it to give you a shape. The next thing you'll want to do is do input data. And this is essentially just trying to create that array of numbers from that picture. ND array shape equals what was the shape that we just created? Remember, input shape from right above. So we're like always cascading these variables one by one. So if you feel like you're typing the same thing over and over again, that is certainly engineering. And so now that we'll have this input shape, we're going to give it a type. We have to be explicit about what type of type this is. And this is going to be a float 32, which is a fancy way of saying it's a number, a certain type of number. But make sure that you use the right brackets and the right parentheses. If you are staying with us, go ahead and type done in the Zoom chat. If you need help, if you're lost, please type help in the Zoom chat. All right, awesome. We have a question from Johanna for one of our TAs, because I'm afraid that we're going to run out of time. I'm going to keep going. I'm so sorry. But if one of our TAs can write the answer in the chat, that will be very helpful. All right, we're at number 7 now. To do number 7. It's going to ask us to resize the image. Remember, we're uploading an image, and we need it to be resized so that our model can read it appropriately. It knows where the edges are, and it can translate it. So why does it need to be at least 224 by 224? Honestly, I do not know. Sometimes you're stuck with configurations for the model, and you just have to follow it. You have to respect it because someone built it for you. So remember, we're creating a new variable, size. I need to change the size of this. And the size that I need it to be is this like 1:3 aspect ratio. What is the image itself? It's going to be using this image ops.fit, which is, again, another existing, oops, I said image. There we go. Typos. That's how it will get you one day. So I need my image to use this function, which takes into account an image. It needs the size, which we just put above, and it will need the image.anti-alias. Remember, case sensitive. I forget what anti-aliasing is. I believe it's like something in pictures to prevent it from being corrupted, but I'll need to Google that later. Let's go on to the next part, which is our normalized image array. So this is now the resized output, new variable. And what does this need? It's going to look really familiar to what we said it required before. Oh yeah, see, Jason knows exactly how the images work because he's processed them before. So we're doing image array dot as type, and we need this to be the float 32. There is going to be this divide by 127.0 minus 1. Let me see. I feel like I have missed a parenthesis somewhere. This looks right. Okay, I think we're okay. The next step here is to then start loading this image into the array. Now that we have set up the structure for it and the space, we're going to be adding in the inference itself. This will be our input data. We're going to do, oh wait, let me double check my code here. Am I in the right place? I believe that I am. Yes, okay. I'm doing my input data. Yes, so I'll need my first, I'm starting from 0. This is going to be my normalized image array, which remember we just built up here. So make sure when you hover over it, it's the same picture. We need to now set our interpreter dot set tensor input details. We start at index at 0 to pull that image. We then have our index. You have those brackets and the input data. And I promise we're almost done. We now need to invoke, which means we're ready for the service to start. So please type in our chat done if you are all set. If you're all the way here, you're almost ready to write your prediction text. If you need help though, go ahead and type help in the chat. So I'll wait for everyone to double check that their code is working as expected. Go ahead and type done in the chat if you are ready to go. Where is the image array defined? So this is actually an existing function within, I believe it's within TensorFlow or our PIL, I believe. So the PIL library is one of the things that I believe had the image array. Very good question. You should always ask, did we define this yet? Is it working? Is this correct? So we have our normalized image array, which is essentially normalizing the image. We have our input data with this 0 bracket, which is basically just loading the image into the array. We're then running the inference itself with these two things by invoking it. And then we need to get our output data and our prediction. So let's do the next part. So if I have set in place my interpreter, I've started passing the model, let's do our output data. And let's call this, let's see, interpreter dot get tensor. And remember, this is just another function that already exists in the TensorFlow library. What get tensor does is essentially just returns a copy of the tensor data. And we'll have to describe exactly what tensors are much later. Let me see. Oh, did I actually miss my NumPy array? Let's see. I will double check this, but let me finish my output data first. My output data is going to ask for the output details, and it's going to use that for first index again. And I will name my prediction output data. All right. Now, if I use my prediction and I have all of my different constants, what constants did I not define? I haven't defined my allowable image extensions. I forgot. That's right. We skipped right over this. So we'll go back to our constants. Go ahead and type done in the Zoom chat if you have finished your process file function so far. Did I miss my image? I think I did. Size, image, did I do my normalized? I see. You're right, I did miss my image array. I was going to need that here. I need to my image array. Thank you. Sorry, it's been a while since I've used. I wrote this code 2 years ago. So when you do that, you look at the code and you're like, who wrote this? This is awful. And then you realize it was yourself. Okay, so I did miss this. So go ahead and go back to your code. Make sure that you have this many lines if you did your whole function so far. We can go back to the code above, don't worry. We'll show stuff at the top. But I'll wait for people to say that they're done with this function first before I move on. Can we get a time check? How much time do we have left? do we have 15 more minutes or less? Slightly less. If you need help, please type help because our TAs are ready to help. If you feel like, hey, I don't have the same number of lines here, how come you have so many variables and I don't, then please say help in the Zoom chat. But I'll wait till we see 3 more people type done in the Zoom chat before we move up and double check all of our code and start adding our constants. So if you're done with your process file function, go ahead and type done. Awesome. All right, so we had our 3 other people. Let's move up. So what have we done so far? We imported from Flask, which is the web, we call it a library. I guess I will call it a library. The web framework that we use to render our Replit web page. We didn't do this. We had all of this stuff already there. We'll get to these constants. We added a post here in number 2, because this is the method that we need to upload the picture. The app route of the website that we built needs to post the picture that was uploaded. We actually skipped through this function. So this function was already there, and it's called allowed file. And what that means is it's a function that will accept some file name. It will figure out what it's called. But first, it actually wanted to check, is it an allowed extension? And so seeing it in all caps like this tells you that that's actually a constant that you need to define. A constant is very similar to a variable, but you can't change it throughout your code. So let's actually go back up to line 12 and type in our allowed extensions so that we can define our constant. So the constant here will be, well, unfortunately, the way I've written my code, I can only accept a JPEG, or I can accept a JPEG. But I can't accept PNGs. I can't accept zip files. So this is basically going to be part of my error handling. I'm going to be checking to see whether or not it is one of these file names that was built. So make sure you add this line. We have a good question from Joanna. I'm going to have to double check. Let's see, where are we? Image ops. Let's go back down. My image ops is here. My image ops. So this is where I was resizing the image to be at least 224 by 224. I added a size variable. I added an image size and an image.anti-alias. So the image should be here, this variable. Let me see. Did I skip something? I may have also skipped my actual image. Yes, you're right. I will need to add I need to open my actual file. I'm sorry. Good catch. So Joanna is paying a lot of attention. So I never actually added my image to the process file path. So remember, we defined a file path earlier here when we upload our picture. So I actually needed to add this image up here so that it could take in this service. And then I renamed it as image because I'm a bad coder. And this is one of the things that I was frowning at. I was like, who wrote this? This is very bad practice. All right, so we're almost there. We've started adding our process file. We added in the interpreter. What else have we done? We've added our input and output tensors. We created our array. We then resized it. We then loaded the image finally. So make sure you added this. We then had to get the getTensor function that comes built in. Interpreter dot, should this be setTensor, getTensor, output details, yep. So I set it first and then I get it next, which is returning the copy of it. And I'm gonna create my output data. All right, if you need help, if you're still not yet there, please type help in the Zoom chat. This is essentially going to be loading this is kind of where a lot of the magic happens. The TensorFlow Lite interpreter takes this library. It's going to then take the model file that, remember, we dragged and dropped here. And then it's going to execute all of these different functions, and it gives us access to some output data. Let's see. What do we have next? Why are the comments colors black? Oh, that's a good question. Hopefully I haven't missed something in did I miss a parentheses, close parentheses somewhere? Let's see. Let me know if you see a missing. There is certainly something wrong up until here. Oh no, it's probably just my computer. All right, everyone done with all of our to-dos? So if we've added our prediction, what we probably need to do next is start processing that prediction. So we added a prediction here as the output data. Let's go back to our to-do 3 and 4, because when we upload the file, we actually want all of the activity to be done here. It will check whether or not the post request, the uploading of the image was there. We wanted to check if it was an allowed file. Remember, we defined allowed files here in this function. We then saved it. And what we'll want to do next is we want to start using the prediction service to process this file, or our model to process this file. So now that we have the file here, we're going to actually use the process file function to pass the image that we upload through this. So because we already defined our prediction down here, remember, we're going to go back to our to-do 3 and 4 and go ahead and do prediction will now equal the process file path. Let's see. And then I will need to have my service return my HTML file. So all of the stuff that I've already built here will need to be built as a return render template, which is, again, just another function within Flask that helps to generate the actual website for myself. The template has already been made in this HTML file, this one here. And the file name will be file name, and my prediction will be prediction. So prediction. I have my file name here, and this should return my website once all of the different functions have been used. What I will also need to do is make sure that it is human readable and I actually get some information out of this. So why don't we go to let's see, I'll do my prediction output data. The next step here is to start the results. So what am I going to get out of this prediction? I want to start creating a prediction text placeholder. Let's start defining this as should be a percentage. So why don't we make sure that we format it correctly? We'll truncate this picture, this percentage that we know we're going to get back from the model. We're going to truncate the prediction. Let's see. It will be the only number that we'll get. So 0 as in that first number. Because it is going to come back as a percentage, I'm just going to quickly format this so that it shows up with the 2 different decimal points. Let's see, prediction text. And we have to build our logic here now. So if you think about the logic of what you think the model will return, you're going to upload a picture. It's going to then it's going to pass it through the model, and it's going to give you whether or not it thinks it is the class of item that you said it was. So how likely is it that this person was wearing a mask or not wearing a mask? Let me see. In this case, I ended up doing the first prediction. So I'm going to return, well, actually, no. I will need to look at whether or not my prediction, that item, it is above my prediction threshold here. And I'm going to return something back to my HTML so that it shows up on my user screen. I'm going to say, yay. I'm adding some placeholders here because that is unfortunately how Jinja 2 needs to take placeholders, and it will be replaced in my HTML itself. What are my 2 things here? I'm going to format it with, what are those 2 variables? It's going to be my prediction text, and I'm going to have my comparison item. So the prediction text should be, why don't we put this, let's see, at our truncated percentage. So that will show up first here in between these 2 brackets, or what do we call this? Braces. So my prediction text was defined here. It's the value of the prediction. And then I need to define this comparison item. So the comparison item that I was doing for this one was my Gojek driver. So I'm going to go all the way back up and add a comparison item. Gojek driver, but you can also put the comparison item, is it wearing a mask? And then I'll go back down. Let me know if you are okay with your prediction text. Oops, I need to add my prediction threshold as well. So I'll add a prediction threshold here. Prediction threshold. Hopefully I have spelled this correctly. In this case, I used 0.7 or 0.5. Basically, if it's over one side or the other, it'll be class 1 or class 2, from what I understand. And so I'm just looking for it to be over this threshold. So if it is over that threshold, then I'll say yes. Looks like it is a Gojek driver because the comparison item will be replacing these brackets. My prediction text, which is my percentage prediction here, will replace this first bracket, or sorry, brace. And then what we'll want to do next is put an else statement. So if it's not greater than that prediction threshold that I just set, then I should change this to an else statement. If it's not, then let's return instead. Same thing, some braces here. That percentage is not a comparison item. So remember, we did this again before, format, and we're going to do the same thing, prediction text, and the comparison item. Comparison item will be passing through that second brace, and then the prediction text through that first one. So depending on how my prediction is evaluated, it will either give me this on my website or it will give me this. All right, let's double check everything, but go ahead and type done in the chat if you are all finished with your process file function. So yes, all of this is one function. It's huge. We're using this to format the percentage that it gives us back. We're using this to determine our prediction threshold. Go ahead and type done in the chat if you are all done with your function. Can you see the code for the prediction threshold? Absolutely. So our prediction threshold was not necessarily code, but it's a constant. So whenever you see these capitals, you'll have to go all the way back up and set your prediction threshold. Maybe I'll set this to 0.4, maybe 0.5. It's really up to you, because remember, this is it's a user experience that you want to test for. How certain does this need to be for it to show up as a yes? So does everyone have all of their constants? Make sure you have 4 of them here. You have an upload folder, allowed extensions, you have a prediction threshold, you have a comparison item, and you probably don't have to name it Gojek driver. You can name it masks. You can name it whatever your item was. You have your process file function here. And then you have your prediction text. And if you want to change the text, go ahead. That's totally fine. Make sure you have dropped your TF-Lite file here and it shows up in your folders. Please go ahead and type done in the chat if you have everything in place. Does your code show up here? Now we're going to move to the HTML index. If everyone's done, go ahead and type done if you're ready. You have your TF-Lite file here. Please type, I need the TF-Lite file in the Zoom chat if you don't have it. That's right. If your file name is model_unquant TF-Lite, you do not need the one. I'm just going to go ahead and actually, I'm going to delete my TF-Lite and just get my Gojek driver one. And let's see, I believe that was this one. Drop it back in here. I'm just going to go ahead and change my thing. I don't remember if there was a space there. So your TF-Lite file should look like this unless you accidentally downloaded 2. Make sure it's the same name as what shows up here. If you still need access to the process file function, go ahead and type help in the chat. Otherwise, we're moving to HTML, which is so much easier, also very annoying. But let's look at my title will show up here. My AI-powered image recognition tool. You can go ahead and type that in or change it to whatever you want. Maybe I'll change it to Crystal's AI-powered image recognition tool. We have our font family, our color, our background, headings. We're going to scroll all the way down and let's edit this. Are you wearing a mask? Or what if, are you a Gojek driver? Go ahead and change your heading and anything that you want here. You will actually see that there's a bunch of Flask syntax here. So these percentages and braces are, I believe this Jinja, if I'm not wrong. So Flask is a framework that uses the Jinja framework. Oh yes, thank you, Jason. Correct. Sometimes you do have to, I don't know if this will work actually. Does this work? Refresh. I may have to press stop and then rerun it. Oh no. I have an indentation problem. Let's go back. We're doing some debugging. In my if prediction item. Okay, if prediction item. Oh yeah, okay. So that is over indented. To my return. I guess I will just move everything back one. Okay. If you have an unexpected indent, please look for your indentation. And then let's press run. Oh my God, thank goodness. Breath of relief. Did you get your code to work? Go ahead and type yes in the Zoom chat if you did. If you have an error, copy paste your error to us in the Zoom chat. But I'm going to go back to my index. Are you a Gojek driver? I'm telling my users to upload a JPEG or JPEG image only. And then there's a bunch of this Jinja syntax that is essentially asking for all of the stuff that I have listed in my Python here. So all of this stuff is being returned. We have a prediction here. So if it was able to get that prediction, it will store the result here and it returns it in that way. You can also change your name below here because you probably don't want to say that I made it because you probably did much better than I did. So go ahead and make sure you change your name here as well at line, I think this is 99. Yes. Can you see the prediction text equals truncate? Absolutely. Here we go. So I also had an indentation problem. Make sure everything starts on the same line because it's all part of the same function process file. Make sure your if else statement is also on the same indentation, but your returns are indented by one tab. So go ahead and type it works in the Zoom chat if you got it to run. If not, go ahead and just copy paste that error message. So I had an error message before, no worries. If you have an error message, go ahead and copy paste it into the chat and just let us know what went wrong. And we'll try to debug with you. I'll wait for people to say it works in the Zoom chat if you got it to work. If not, let us know in the Zoom chat what the error message says. And if you need to test if it worked, you can press stop and then run again. If you need help, go ahead and type help in the Zoom chat. Are people having trouble? Anyone needs help? Let us know. help. Oh no. What problem are you having? Do you see the console down here? Geo? 2 do 3 when trying to return render template. Of course. Let's look at that 2 do 3. So you had an if allowed file. You then had this indentation. And we had to get this file name. We had to change it to a secure file name. We had to then find the path of how this user was going to upload the picture and where it would go to. We have an upload folder here, which is an existing constant, and then the file name itself. We do the actual act of doing save file path. And then we did add this prediction here. You got method not allowed after running the index.html. Oh no. Have we defined image array before? I think I did slip that in here. So that was one of the ones that we had to go back to. I apologize. Chandra, it looks like you have too many indentations. So you'll have to go down to here, where you see prediction text. Make sure your if statement is at the same indentation as your prediction text and everything else above here. If you got everything to work, go ahead and share your REPL link with us. You can share it here by opening it in a new tab and just copy paste it into the Zoom chat. It's okay. Don't worry. Every problem, you're always like, oh my God, I can't believe that was what messed me up. That's okay. Don't worry. It happens to the best of us. So you're doing return render template. That was all the way up here, right here. So remember that your return has to be on the same line as your prediction. I know it's always a typo problem. If your service worked, go ahead and post your link in the Zoom chat. You can get your link here, up here, and then we'll test it out. So this was the replit that I used. I was looking for a Gojek driver. I guess I could use one of our mask images. And yeah, that's definitely not a Gojek driver. So what about if I do use a Gojek driver? Let's see. Do I have any Gojek driver? I have pictures of drivers. Let's just use a random picture of a driver. Oh my goodness, 99.99% a Gojek driver. So hopefully you are using your own Tensor TF Lite model. If not, you could always borrow one of ours. That's totally fine. Does anyone else have problems with their replit working? If not, share it with us. Let us see what you've got. Can you see to do 8? Of course. This is loading the image into the array and running our inference. This is us converting our image. Share your replit link. If yours works, let us know. We have just a couple more minutes, everyone. You're getting a 500 internal server error. Oh no. Oh, interesting. It might be because I've run out of space or there's too many pictures possibly. Let's see. Oh no. Let's take a look. Do you have a picture of internal service error? Oh no. Let's look. Is it the... Hopefully, let's see. If it is a 500 internal service error, is that because the replit cannot support the TF Lite model or the runtime, unless it's a premium account? Hopefully not. Internal server error. I will need to get back to the team. Does your code here work? Are you able to upload it from your preview here, or it also doesn't work? And this code works for any TF Lite model that you upload. Uh-oh, replit might be down. That always happens, but don't worry. Try it again. You can also get access to my replit, and we'll send you the link as well. Hey, Nadine, welcome back. Don't worry, I took very good care of everyone. I helped them generate and break replit.com, which is not a bad thing, I think.
I feel like there are so many people here and also around the world that are doing Hour of Code on Replit right now. So that we may have just broken the internet, guys. All right. 1 second. Yeah, we definitely broke the internet because I'm also getting an error when I try to do Replit. Amazing. Okay, wow. Kayaknya ini pertama kali sih sebenarnya Replit is down gara-gara salah satu program kita. Bukan gara-gara sih, tapi maksudnya sambil kita lagi kerjain program kita, terus tiba-tiba Replit is down. Jadi, good job everyone. I think you can safely say that we just full on broke the internet. Amazing. Oke. Jadi gimana nih hari ini sama kalian? Gimana kalian semuanya sama Crystal, sama Jason, sama Chris? Udah banyak kan knowledge-nya yang udah di-share sama mereka, dan semoga ya walaupun Replit is down and like walaupun mungkin kita nggak bisa kayak fully test the project that we just finished, hopefully you guys had a lot of fun with us also, and mungkin kalau misalnya kalian ada yang belum selesai, or if you guys haven't finished your projects yet, you can definitely finish it in the next like couple minutes. Okay, so very quickly, let's do like a quick closing. I just want to say thank you so much to Tokopedia Line and also Yuma Soerianto for giving us a great opening for Hour of Code. Yang aku bilang ke kalian tadi kan ini sebenarnya bukan sesuatu yang kita kerjain sendiri kan. This is something that we do globally, and we're just so happy that we have partners like Tokopedia Line and Yuma to help us kind of kick off the event for you guys. And of course, also I want to say thank you juga ke mentor dan TA kita, of course Crystal, Jason, and also Chris. Thank you guys so much for joining us. Kalau misalnya kalian nggak tahu, Crystal tuh sekarang lagi di US, so this is like her night time right now. So I know that you guys are all very busy people, and the fact that you guys have taken the time to celebrate Hour of Code with us, and also like helped us break Replit. That would be that's just like so much fun. So thank you so much again for being here. Kalau misalnya kalian mau bilang thank you, please do so in the chat right now. Like I said, these mentors and these TAs really take a lot of time to prepare the material for you guys. So thank you so much. I also want to I also want to congratulate the winners. Kalau misalnya kalian nggak tahu, kita kan sebenarnya juga ada beberapa kontes buat Hour of Code ini kan. We had a couple comment winners and also a couple Twibbon winners as well. So thank you so much for joining our little competition. And kalau misalnya kalian lihat namanya di sini as one of the winners, please tolong DM kita and we will get you your prizes. And very quickly, kita juga ada Kitabisa page if you guys want to support us in that way. Nanti kalau misalnya kalian mau donasi, bisa langsung di Kitabisa. And I think there might be a slide right before this. Hold on. Oh, enggak. Yes. Sorry, do you mind going back one? I'm so sorry. Yes, thank you so much for joining us. Jadi di sini ada happy form. Kalau misalnya kalian mau kasih kita feedback, we love to get feedback from you guys so that we can improve our programs also. And yeah, just one more time, I just want to say thank you so much to all of the partners that we have that support us. Selain Tokopedia, Line, and Yuma, we also have, of course, our founding sponsor, Sequoia India. Kita juga ada Gojek, Zenius, Coffee Ventures, XYZ, Madison Tech, Line, Girls Unite, Match and Work, Girls Code, Girls Press, SWE, The Study Friend, Girl Up. Oh my goodness, there are so many of these. Google Developer Student Clubs, Women in Tourism Indonesia, Women Works, Girl We Can, Female in Action, Zillion, Stellar, Times Indonesia, Girls in Tech Indonesia, Impactpreneur, Sumut, Stellar, Dreamhouse Lab, and also Heart of People. So terima kasih banget ke semua partners kita yang udah ikutan celebrate Hour of Code with us, and we're so excited to see you at the next Hour of Code not very soon, next year in 2022. Kalau misalnya kalian belum register buat holiday clubs juga, feel free to also register for Winter Club, which is starting very soon, where Chris and also Jason are also going to be our mentors. So I'm really excited about that. And we'll see you guys at the next Hour of Code or at the next Generation Girl event. And we hope to see you very soon. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Dulu yuk. Sebentar.
Oke. Kalau misalnya kalian masih ada di sini and mau turn on your video, kita bisa foto dulu. You guys want to turn on your video? Oops.
Please come take a selfie with me, everyone. Camera's on. I know, we're all trying to test our code to see if Replic's finally back up. I was testing it with Jason, and it looks like it works now. So yeah. It's just them. It's not you.
It's not you.
We have 2 pages.
It's not you. It's them.
How did we get everyone the video? There's 2 pages of people. So many people.
We do it twice.
Okay.
We do it 4 times. Yeah, this is what we always do.
Someone have your best Zoom look on.
Okay, everybody fix your hair.
Who's taking the picture? I need a cute item.
A dog?
I was going to say, you have people.
My dog's downstairs. So sad.
Oh. All right. Wanda, do you mind helping take the picture, please?
Yeah, I will take a picture. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 slides, so yeah, I will change to
take 3
second slide. Yep. Again, 1, 2, 3. One more time. 1, 2, 3. Done.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jason. Thank you,
so
Christian.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great
Thank you,
day.
Rana.
And don't
Great
forget to
job.
tweet Crystal when you're
Tweet
done.
me. I will follow you if you tweet.